I'm representing PA, Primitive Archer, buddy. And I actually hope I didn't burn a bridge, because there was a while that I had an article in Primitive Archer magazine, kind of had a little falling out, and part of it was due just to my schedule, writing the article. Maybe someday in my next life, when I leave Thornswift, the nature preserve, and go off to Rogers City, the promised land, to become a normal human being again, not just like the purveyor of knowledge and rules. Maybe I'll get back in there, who knows. But anyway, I was going to call this Florida Man and just talk about one incident. But here's another one, kind of comical. It kind of lets you into my twisted little mind here, how over almost 3 decades of managing this joint, I've come up with ways of enforcing things and enforcing morality and respect for the natural world and the rules when you're in a facility such as this trail system in Public Beach. Pardon the sniffy, it's just like constant allergies. But the first one was interesting. Let me set up the whole situation. Is we've got trail system that leads down to the shoreline, Lake Michigan, Little Traverse Bay, really Little Traverse Bay, and we've got a public beach area. It's a nice public beach, and then we've got boundaries from on either side. Now I know what you're saying, that the Michigan Trust, the Public Trust, Michigan Public Trust, I think it is, along with a ruling from the Michigan Supreme Court, guess what state I live in, states that you can walk along the shoreline up to the intermittent high water mark, which is basically the wet sand, because we don't have tides, but we have shifting shoreline. And so it is up the limits of the wet sand, so you can toddle along the beach as long as you don't stop. We've got boundaries for our visitors in our public beach, and you're saying, well, how can you do that if you can't stop people from walking the shoreline? Well, we don't walk people from stopping the shoreline, but keep in mind, the state of Michigan doesn't force me to allow people back onto our trail system. See what I mean? Our hammer is that you pass our boundaries, you leave our preserve, you are no longer, I trespass you. Figure out how to get to your car if you can't re-enter the... And a couple times, for the completely belligerent guests that want to sit on the beach, not walk in the shoreline, but sit on the beach beyond our boundaries just to do one of these things, I'll have a sheriff's deputy come down there and he'll say, well, if you're sitting on the beach, you're trespassing, so move it along. But my car's in the parking lot. How am I supposed to get back to my car? Both the sheriff's deputy and myself, not our problem. Call a friend. Harbor Springs is 5 miles that way. Get walking. But anyway, on the other side of the boundary, that's actually kind of amusing. It's not my problem. See ya. On the other side of the boundary is a protected area beach. Say in certain years when the beach is correct, piping plover nesting habitat. We've had some spotted sandpipers and some stuff nesting down there. It's nice to have a section of land that's not trampled underfoot by 20,000 visitors. And then the protected dunes. Now all these rules are actually ordinances. Violating any of our rules is not a civil matter. They're criminal offenses, right? We've got an observation platform, this big long bridging, and then it goes to this big square platform in the dunes. And there's a sign. It says, stay on the platform, protected dunes. And our signs actually have the ordinance number, the paragraph and all that good stuff. And so people are aware. And added to all this, we talk to every single person that goes in. And if you're not a first timer, you're a regular visitor, you know the spiel, you know our rules, you're respectful. We don't have to go through it, but every single new person that enters this preserve, here's the map, here's our beach. I've got an actual sign on the main signboard here, so my employees, myself, we touch the sign. Don't go past this sign that says don't go past the sign on the beach. We've got protected dunes. You can't run in the dunes, blah, blah, blah. Well, I had these three, I picture them between 18 and 22 years old. I can't really tell, but 3 young folks. Well, I was told by my guests, because I've got my personal cell phone number down on these signs that says we can't be everywhere, so call us. So I get this call. Hey, it might have said, hey, John. They might be regular visitors. 3 young people just jumped off the bridging to the platform right where it says stay on the platform. They're running around the dunes and they went straight to the protected area beach. So I go hustling down there, probably on my unicycle at that time. Now I've transferred to a bicycle. And I catch them down there. I don't run through the, well, I might have tracked them, because we sweep with a broom, you know, errant tracks, because people follow other people's tracks, so we sweep them out. But I probably jumped right off, tracked them through the dunes, over the ridge, and down to the beach. And I said, sometimes I allow myself to not be filtered. Most of the time I'm very professional. But when they jump off the platform, run through the dunes, I always considered that's my dessert. I can say whatever I want. I go, you walked on the platform while you were aware of all our rules and regulations and all this stuff. And your dumbasses walked through the dunes and you're standing down here at the beach. Those weren't our tracks. I go, I just tracked you. Said, it's time to leave. And so they're giggling and laughing, you know. And I waited till I was on the public area beach and there's beach visitors down there. And so it's like, I'm not going to let them win. They were probably on their way out anyway, so big deal. It's a funny joke. So I pretended to make a 911 call. And I'm like, yep, John. Oh, hey, how's you going, you know? So told them, yeah, the 911 operator knows me. John here, you know, Thornswift. I need a sheriff's deputy down here right away. And then I told the kids, you actually didn't commit civil offenses. You committed criminal offenses, and I will press charges. Now, my only question to you, in full view of like some other guests sitting there on the beach, is can you make it out of our parking lot, driveway, before the police officers get here? And suddenly, their laughter ceased and they ran. They got out of here. And I actually had some applause from our visitors. But anyway, let's get to Florida Man. The one thing that irks me more than like an adult or two or whatever, you know, intentionally violating our rules and going where they're not, because these are designed to protect this preserve. Again, about 25,000 people come here. It's relatively small. If people did what they want, it would be destroyed. So I'm here to protect it and promote fun for all. Well, Florida Man and his 2 sons were, well, I was informed by 2 different sets of visitors that said, John, or whatever, you take good care of this place. It's beautiful and it's so well maintained. It's too bad other people don't follow the rules. And I was like, what do you mean? And they said there's a father and his 2 sons that were running around in the protected area beach, and then they started running around underneath the observation platform, and they were pulling plants and building like little sand castles. Like, all right, are they still here? And they said, we believe so. So I hopped on my bike, raced down to the beach steps, ran down the beach steps, and there they were. Described perfectly. We knew who they were. Father and 2 sons in matching bathing suits. And I said, you past those boundary markers, they're a line of poles 7 feet tall with signs. There's 2 signs on each side of the beach that clearly explain it. And plus, to run in the dunes, they passed a sign with the ordinance saying stay out of our protected dunes. And I have those for the neighbors, you know, that walk the shoreline. And I said, you crossed our public beach boundary. Not only did you do that, you were running underneath our dune platform in our protected dunes. That's an automatic invitation to get out and never come back. Oh, but we're first timers, you know, we didn't know. And I go, not only were you told up top that we have boundaries and that's a protected area beach, are you trying to tell me that you did not see that line of poles with the signs and that sign that said stay out of the dunes? Pack it up and get out right now. You know, what irks me more than people that just, you know, go into a natural area, be it like a little waterfall in a UP and it says stay, don't pass this point, high erosion area, and people just, or whatever, or people that throw litter, is parents that teach their kids that it's okay to be idiots as long as you don't get caught. You know, not only did this this Florida man, he was from Florida, violate our rules, you know, in our face when we're working so hard to protect this place. He's teaching his kids to be little assholes too. Pardon my French, but that is bad parenting. I resent that. In the name of society, I resent the hell out of that. And so, most people don't fight it. He's embarrassed. He was embarrassed by his son. My employee said that he ran out, got in his car, and just took off. And hopefully he looked stupid in front of his kids and had to explain it. Some people, I'm not going to get into too much here. I've talked long enough. I'm on my way to the store. It's in the morning before I open the gate and start another 12-hour day. But I actually had a group of women and a young person that they violated so many things. They were so bad, they even went and looked, crossing boundaries, went up and looked in the windows of a neighbor's house and then ran around in the dunes and all this stuff. I kicked them out forever. They tried to get me fired. They go to my employers, and then I explain myself. That's procedure. And employers are like, yeah, it's reasonable. But we did say, because they're residents and they pay taxes to support the place, that they talked to them and said that they're allowed to come back, provided that they don't, the rules, that they play nice. And they never came back, by the way, because typically people, when they're embarrassed, they leave, and that's fine. I don't need them. But the person who was the representative of this group trying to get me fired, her name was Karen. Literally, her name was Karen, and got a good laugh out of that at the board meeting. People are so stupid. They think that if I'm enforcing the rules, doing my job, protecting this place, and they get caught, how naive of them to think that they're going to get me in trouble for doing my job. People truly can be stupid. Luckily, most of the people that come here, the vast majority, good, respectful, contribute. That's all. I better get to the store so I have time to get back and do my morning chores and start a new day. Primitive Archer. Have a good one.